Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here with another detailed tropical weather outlook and discussion for Saturday, July 27th, 2024. So taking a look at the latest GOES 16 true color visible satellite imagery provided by Dr. Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com. And here is the situation that we have going on right now. We have a tropical wave that is located right here that is showing signs of some organization, not a whole lot going on right now because there's a lot of low-level clouds, not much deep convection on it, but it's entangled within this large monsoonal trough that we have in progress with a lot of this deep convection where we have winds that do this. They kind of come around and they kind of with the trade winds. And so as we go into the next few days, it's going to be interesting to see which one actually congeals. It looks like this wave over here, the northern side of this wave, will be moving in this general direction. And then these two will do like a little do-si-do, a little Fujiwara effect. And then this whole bundle of energy is going to be approaching the northern windward islands by the middle to the end of next week. So here's a look at the latest 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida. And now they have a 30% chance of tropical development. This is highlighted in yellow here on the NHC Graphical Tropical Weather Outlook map. And this does include the northern windward islands. This includes Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, even portions or most of the Bahamas, including for the southern tip of Florida here. So anyone living in these areas, you definitely need to be watching this wave very closely. So now the question is, will this tropical wave develop into a tropical storm or hurricane by the time we go into late next week into the following week, the first week of August? The question here, or the answer to that, is that this could very well become our next named storm. I'm not going to pre-name storms right now because it's too far out, but the chances of this becoming a tropical storm or hurricane is certainly higher than it was just a couple of days ago. So yeah, anyone living in the Bahamas, including Florida and even the eastern seaboard, you definitely need to be paying close attention to this, because when I show you the sea surface temperatures towards the end of the video, you'll be pretty shocked. So let's go forward. So this wave moves right over the northeastern portion of the Caribbean, and even for the northern windward islands, the leewards including that, by Wednesday early afternoon on the 31st of July. So this is the last day of July. We're going to start the new calendar month into August. And yeah, August is going to start off pretty active, just like it did in early July, only that we're not seeing a Cat 5 hurricane this go around like we had almost a month ago. So going forward now, while this wave isn't going to be very organized in the fact that the wave is sharper. So if we take a look at this, we can see winds doing this around the wave, and then they curl back around and they come in out of the northeast. So we have a wave envelope that looks something like this, or more kind of like that. And usually when we have a wave that is tilted like this, it tends to spin up, or we get vort perturbations around this northern flank of the wave. And now if we go forward just a few more hours into, say, August the 3rd, August the 2nd to 3rd, depending on your time zone, we do have a strengthening wave here. In fact, possibly a tropical storm or a tropical depression with 35 mile an hour winds on the northeastern side, with a almost closed circulation over the Bahamas. So this would not be a good sign at all for these small islands here. After getting hit with Dorian, it's been a disaster, and other named storms, Isaias as well. So going forward again, Saturday morning, Saturday early afternoon, this really develops. We now have 45 mile an hour winds on the eastern, southeastern, and northeastern quadrants, and we do have a closed circulation. In fact, this could take the same path, almost similar to Isaias back in 2019, something like that. Yeah, busy years, I'll tell you. Either way you put it, if I got the first one correct, give me a high five in the chat. All right, in the comment section. And then forward that into August the 6th, we have a developing tropical storm. And then towards the very end of the model here on the Euro, we have a strong Category 1 hurricane with 85 to 90 mile an hour winds. So that is definitely strong. So yeah, this has been consistent too. If we look at the 0Z run, it had something pretty much similar. Tropical storm, if not a hurricane. And then on the 0Z run, it was the only run that did not show anything, but the run before that showed nearly as strong of a tropical storm or hurricane. So the chances are increasing on this. And everyone in the Bahamas, and I'm going to circle you all in here, anyone in the Bahamas, in the Dominican Republic here, as well as Puerto Rico, you definitely need to really be watching this, monitoring it, monitor its progress, because this could become a big deal. And some other models like the Canadian that I'm about to show you and the GFS indicate that this system could skirt just to the north or over Jamaica, over the Cayman Islands, over western Cuba, and if it gets into the Gulf, that's a whole set of problems that you could be dealing with if you're in portions there of Alabama, Mississippi, and the panhandle of Florida. So another model that I don't rarely show in this video is the European Artificial Intelligence Forecasting System. This is the APHIS model of the Euro. This is the more better run, or the better type of model, not as high resolution, but when we think about artificial intelligence, you have heard that term a lot over the last year and a half with the AI type cloud business going on. And so this is that model, very intelligent, and it gives us an idea what might happen. So here's our wave right here, even picking this up, light winds to the south of that wave, stronger winds to the north. As this glides to the west-northwest, we can see similar to the Euro, the wave tightens up, but it takes a little bit more time to do so. And then once this gets just over Great Abaco, some of these other islands in the Bahamas, we have a strengthening tropical depression. And then eventually this might end up becoming a strong tropical storm here once this gets just off the coast of the Carolinas with winds of about 50 miles an hour. But because this is not a high resolution model, this you can kind of get an idea by just looking at this map. We're looking at winds on this model estimating of about 60 to 65 miles an hour. So a high-grade tropical storm or even a hurricane perhaps. So that's two models that I've showed you showing the same thing. Now what about the Canadian model? This is the 10-meter wind speed forecast. And we can see same thing. So we know for a fact on all of the global models, we have a wave that is in this area in the next 4 days. That's important. Confidence here is very important on this model. So as we go forward here by August 1st, by August 2nd, take note now, this wave transitions over the entire landmass of the Dominican Republic into Cuba, as well as northern Jamaica. So anything within this wave, we are going to see likely a lot of rainfall, some breezy winds at times. The northern flank, more stronger winds are expected. But watch what the Canadian model wants to do to this. By Saturday afternoon, this is the 3rd of August. Yes, it is August. And look at what we got. Winds of about 45 to 50 miles an hour at the surface. And then look what happens once this gets into the Gulf. It's go time. This really strengthens in a hurry. And then by the time this gets on the coast of, say, Mobile, Alabama, yeah, crazy chicken dude, that is you. And you could be seeing winds of about 70 to 80 miles an hour. So this is in about 10 days. So the Euro and its APHIS model, including some other models I'm about to show you, indicate that the system will be over here in the Western Atlantic, versus the Canadian model has a strengthening, possibly a rapidly intensifying tropical storm or hurricane on approach to the northern Gulf of Mexico into perhaps Alabama or even the panhandle of Florida. So yeah, we really got to watch this. This has some high potential on our radar of doing something pretty a little more substantial. The only model that does not indicate any development is the GFS model, which has been like that. A few runs ago, it was going a little crazy. In fact, if we look at the 0Z run from yesterday, it did show a strengthening system last minute over Mobile, Alabama. But if we look at the last couple of runs, the 06Z run had this actually skirting Florida. Look at that. That was a very strong system, 84, 90 mile an hour system skirting the coast here, very close to where where Ian made landfall near Tampa, Florida. And over the Big Bend, this would be a catastrophic situation with very big storm surge concerns over this area that would make landfall. But in its last model run, the 12Z run, we have virtually nothing. So it's very interesting that the GFS has been the least consistent from run to run as far as where this is going to be and how strong it might end up being. And therefore, the Canadian in its forecast, if we go back a run, we can see that it has been showing something in the Gulf. Even the 12Z run had something in the Gulf. And let's see, the 0Z run didn't have anything in the Gulf. So the last three runs of the Canadian model has been showing and indicating that there could be a tropical storm or hurricane here, versus the European model has a system still consistently over the southwestern and western Atlantic. Now you might be wondering, how much rain could you see out of this tropical wave possibly coming into a tropical storm or hurricane later on in the forecast? Again, depending on exactly where this goes, we know for a fact in 4 days it's going to be somewhere up here in the northeastern Caribbean over the northern Windward Islands. You might see anywhere between about 3/4 of an inch to maybe about 1.5 inches of rainfall. Versus if this becomes a bona fide system over the Bahamas, you could see significant more amounts of rainfall, perhaps over 5 or 6 inches in these areas, with isolated amounts possibly up to about 7 or 8 inches. So yeah, for you all living in the northern Bahamas, definitely need to be watching this one. If we look at the Canadian model, again, a different scenario. Again, this is over the Gulf of Mexico, maybe areas like Mobile, Alabama, as well as Panama City, Pensacola, Florida. You might get anywhere between 8 to maybe 10 inches of rainfall, perhaps, in a 10-day forecast. But again, I want to make it clear, this is a 10-day forecast, and this is very fragile situation. Things could change in a heartbeat from run to run. We don't know exactly where and when and how these impacts will be because we're too far in the forecast, and we only know about 4 days in advance right now exactly where this is going to be ending up at. Because, as you know, we need to get a system to bonify, to concentrate its spin, and to develop an inner core structure. Then we can better track this down on models and hurricane models as well. Another product that I want to show you here briefly in this video is the Windshear Forecast out ahead of this wave. As you know, we do have a tut that's increasing the shear from the southwest, especially over the Caribbean. But as we go over the next several days, that shear is going to slowly abate because the wave is going to be over here, right? And the shear is down here to its southwest. So we have some outflow vectors here of the shear around this wave, which means there is not a whole lot of shear here. Any shear on the order of about maybe 10 to 15 knots at most is what we're going to be seeing. And the shear is going to remain that way possibly all the way through August the 2nd and the 3rd once the wave approaches perhaps over the Bahamas here. Might pick up a little bit more, maybe to about 15 to 20 knots. But then because of the thermodynamic aspect of this, that's why we could still see some tropical development within this wave by the first week of August. Now, what are the chances of a tropical depression to form? And we're going to go up the staircase here with this forecast. So right now, there is a 60 to 70% chance of a tropical depression for the northeastern Caribbean. So that includes the U.S. British Virgin Islands. That includes for Puerto Rico. Most likely, this is going to be an open wave still. This is not going to be a closed low. So if you do see these chances go up with tropical depression, this could bonify a little sooner rather than later. That's why these chances are the way they are. But this is only the chances of a tropical depression. But now when we take a look at the chances of a tropical storm here on the Euro Ensemble forecast, most of the ensembles are indicating that there could be a 40 to 50% chance of tropical storm formation. And then again, the further north you go in the Bahamas, the better the chances are for a tropical storm to develop. Now, there's a non-zero chance for a hurricane here, and that's why you notice the wording out of my mouth here. I'm mentioning hurricane a little bit more often in this video than my previous videos. And that's because there is a 10% chance of a hurricane to develop within this area. Right here that I have circled in black, that is off the coast of the Carolinas. So if you're in Wilmington, North Carolina, if you're near Savannah, Georgia here, you're definitely in possible striking distance of this system. So that's why we are going to be doing daily updates on this as necessary, because this is a non-zero chance for a hurricane. Winds of 64 knots or greater, or 75 miles an hour. Now, we were not able to get our 12Z ensemble track forecast here on weathernerds.org, unfortunately, and so we were still referencing our 0Z output on the ensemble forecast, which kind of illustrates the possible, or the most possible outcome here on its ensemble. So we have some wild tracks here. Most of them, again, we know for a fact over the northern Windward Islands, the Greater Antilles, have a better chance of seeing this wave move over your area. Keep in mind, a tropical wave, maybe a 25 or 30 mile an hour tropical depression. Very weak here. So there's no concern for the time being that this is going to become a hurricane like Beryl did, or anything more significant. However, though, once this gets into the northern Bahamas, we can see there's a lot of wild outcomes here. Basically, what an ensemble forecast is it puts a blend of different members. So the model gets ran through 51 different times, and the atmosphere is tweaked just a little bit. And each time the atmosphere is tweaked a little bit, you get these different tracks. So some of the members do indicate that this will be a fish storm, not even making landfall at all. But guess what? There is the other half of the ensemble envelope over here that still shows that this could still make a run towards a beeline towards Florida, or even into the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. This is very troubling because of how warm and how high the upper ocean heat content here is over the northeastern and eastern Gulf of Mexico. So there is still a wide possible outcome here from some of the members, some of the eastern envelope doing this versus an envelope that could still theoretically take this all the way into Louisiana if some of the members do agree here. So yeah, huge different, lot of uncertainty here, out to about 7 to 10 days. Now that we talked about our potential tropical depression, storm, or hurricane over the next 10 days, it's a good idea that we really focus on these sea surface temperatures. These are absolutely troubling when you think about it. These are very warm. If you think about, the green colors, that's not as warm as we thought. This scale has continued to climb. So the top of the scale here is now 32.3 Celsius. That is about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And yeah, you guessed it. It is off the coast here of Florida over the Big Bend. We have a pretty good fetch here of 31 Celsius waters. That's about 87, 88 degrees Fahrenheit. And of course, your 30 Celsius, that's about 85, 86 Fahrenheit. So basically, in other words, if we get a tropical wave, that's what the Canadian is showing, and some of the Euro ensemble members showing some development over here, this could really explode. And I don't like saying that. I don't like to cause a little bit of fear or anything, but we got to understand water temperatures here are outrageously warm for the month that we're in. This is late July water temperatures, folks, and we're not supposed to see These waters rival until about early September, mid-September standards. And we're already seeing 30, 31, 32 Celsius along the coast here of Florida. So if anything comes up here, it could end really, really bad if the wind shear is very light and we have a lot of deep layer moisture to work with. I'm just saying, I want to make sure you all are ready for maybe the worst case scenario. It doesn't have to be that way. Just keep in mind. So the upper ocean heat content really quickly is formidable. I mean, this is pretty sickening to see. These dark red colors over just to the southwest of Jamaica, over the Cayman Islands, yes, south of, say, Cuba. I mean, this is off the charts. I mean, I just circled that in here. Off the charts, possibly as high as 200 units. And then the loop current, which is over here, we're even approaching 175 units of heat content. So I'm just saying, if we get a wave here, there's a lot of energy ready to go in the Gulf of Mexico. And I really, really hope we don't see anything significant in the Gulf, because there's a lot of population. If this turns and hits Florida, if this turns and goes straight in, or if this does other crazy stuff, there's population here. And that's why we really, really need to be talking about this wave, because, yeah, it's a scenario as if it goes here or if it goes here, someone somewhere could be impacted. But anyways, to review with what we talked about in today's detailed tropical weather outlook and discussion for Saturday, July 27th, we are keeping an eye on this wave yet again. There's a couple of them out here, but these two are going to merge, and then once that happens, this is going to move off towards the west-northwest, towards the Bahamas, perhaps over the Dominican Republic. We just don't know exactly where, but I would be guessing anywhere that I highlight in yellow here over the United States definitely needs to be on watch, including for the Bahamas, actually the Bahamas over here, the Dominican Republic, as well as Puerto Rico. Definitely need to be monitoring the latest progress of this system. All I can do, folks, is make sure you all are prepared for the meat of the hurricane season. We're starting to see signs of that going deeper into August. Well, we're not in August yet, but as we go through the month, it's going to get more active. And so I want to make sure you all are prepared. But anyways, if you did enjoy today's detailed tropical weather outlook and discussion for Saturday, July 27th, 2024, please make sure you hit the red subscribe button right now down below this video. Hit the red subscribe button, folks. You got this. Hit the like button. Share this video with your family and friends on social media, and also ring the bell notification icon to get latest notifications on this YouTube channel. I will be doing updates on a daily basis, and as we get closer to the confidence here, as the confidence increases, we're probably going to do live streaming discussions on this wave soon. I don't know how soon yet. It just depends on the situation, but don't worry. We've got you covered from the ground up on this tropical wave.